everything about me. My quirks, my silliness, my rambunctiousness. Rambunctiousness. Is that a word? I mean, just all of it. He loved not just the beautiful things about me, but he loved my flaws. He loved me despite my flaws. Welcome to the Chosen Covergirl, where we talk about living life full of joy, confidence, and faith, as well as everything in between. Hi, everyone. I'm your girl, Daniela. Today, I'm sharing how I knew that my husband was the one. Now, if you're a subscriber, you're probably thinking, okay, but you did that one already. But I actually didn't. See, in my previous video, I did how God showed me that my husband was the one. Now, this video is very different from that because in that particular video, if you haven't seen it already, for those who haven't seen it, in that particular video, I go into detail on how God relayed that to me. I really explain the signs that was given to me and just how he showed me in bringing about the revelation that my husband was the one. Now, in today's video, I am sharing the things that my husband would do that was pretty much consistent with someone who I would want to be my husband. And I'm like, so at the end of the day, he was there, we were friends, but I was overlooking those things. So I'm here to share those things with you. So if you have someone in your life who's possibly doing those things, I don't want you to miss out by overlooking him. And if that person hasn't come along just yet, maybe it'll help you identify whether or not this person is the one. What my husband would do, one of the things he would do, and I have like 3 different things that he would do. One of the things he would do is he would pursue me. Yes, he pursued me. I know you guys are probably thinking, that's pretty basic. And it is. It's pretty basic. It's pretty fundamental. But you'd be surprised how so many of us will excuse a man's lack of pursuit, whether he was too busy or whatever the excuse may be. And so many of us won't even allow a man to pursue us because we go ahead and we start the chase on onset and don't allow them to pursue us. I think at some point in our lives we've heard or we've discovered that men are hunters. Men are chasers. Men pursue. So when you really think about it, there should be little to zero excuses when it comes to that. Little to zero excuse as far as when a man says that he likes you, when a man says that he loves you, or as far as whether or not you're trying to decide whether or not this man is the one. If he's not pursuing you, then I would say 99% of the chance he really isn't that into you and he's not the one. When it came to my husband, he had 2 jobs while going to school, and he still did not keep that from pursuing me. He would call me all the time. He'd call me on the phone all the time. And I know that times are different from when I got married and from when I met my husband. But at the end of the day, it's about the communication. It's about, the reaching out, whether it's through calling, whether it's through texting, whether, with social media, whether it's in the DM, just the constant communication to show the interest, to pursue. That's what's important. And that's exactly what my husband did. Not only did he call me all the time, he would consistently ask me out on dates. Every time you turn around, this man was asking me out on a date. And it really showed that he wanted to be with me. He wanted to be in my presence. He liked being around me. That is called the pursuit. That was him pursuing me. Even if it was just to study. If I missed a class, he would call me and say, hey, I got the notes for you. If you want, I'll drop them off. Let's study together. I'll tell you what you missed. Even if he could do it over the phone, he tried his best to do it in person. And another thing that he would also do when it came to him pursuing me is he would inquire about my interest. And then he would turn around and buy me the things that I liked or take me to the places that I enjoyed. That was him really pursuing me. I remember our first date. And you know, during the first date, it's that time where you're asking questions, you're getting to know the person, you know, a little bit better, just like, oh, just trying to kind of get to know where this person's head is at and just all that stuff. And I remember during that date, I told him that I loved basketball. Now, would you believe, ladies, that he, within maybe a week or two, surprised me with tickets to the Miami Heat game, a professional basketball game. Okay, so not only was he paying attention to what I was saying that I liked, he was trying to secure a second date. He's like, this girl says she likes basketball. I'm going to secure this date, and I'm going to make it something that she probably can't refuse, you know? So that's what one thing, like when I look at it in hindsight, if I really paid attention to it, I was like, yo, this dude pursued me hard. Oh, and I remember the game was the Miami Heat versus the Indiana Pacers. Yep. The Heat versus the Pacers. Oh, I remember that. I mean, I didn't go to the game. But that's for a different story, guys. I didn't go to the game. I turned him down. But the fact is, he did it, and it was a wonderful gesture. Now, the thing about it, when it comes to my husband and him pursuing me, it just really shows that when a man wants to be with you, he will pursue you. I didn't have to pursue my husband. I didn't have to take that role on, and I didn't have to play any tricks. And when I say tricks, you know, when you butt dial someone, or when you sent the text to the wrong person, you know, so you butt dial them and send the text to the wrong person. Oh, let me put myself on their radar. Or when you go to a particular event or location, a venue that you know that, you know, your crush or the guy that you like actually attends, and you want him to see you. You're like, oh, I need him to see me. I need him to be reminded of what he was interested in the beginning. And you want to put yourself in the forefront of the person's mind to push along the chase. Be like, all right, come on, come get this. Hello, don't forget, you liked it before. Come get it. But I did not have to do that when it came to my husband, because my husband was not an out of sight, out of mind type of person. Because that's how it is, you know, with a lot of these guys. You know, they're interested when you're in their face, but then as soon as you're out of sight is who? What's her name again? What? Oh, yeah. My husband, like I said, was not an out of sight, out of mind type of person. He wasn't lukewarm about me. It wasn't, oh, I could do with it, do without it, like it didn't matter. No, his attitude was, I gotta have that girl. I have to have that girl, which made it clear that he was interested in me, which brings me to the second thing that he would do. My husband made his affection towards me very clear. I didn't have to guess whether or not he liked me. He not only, you know, pursued me with his action, he expressed himself with his words. I didn't have to pull anything out of him. He voluntarily and expressly told me how much he liked me, what it was that he liked about me, and how much he wanted to be with me. So I didn't have to question where I stood with him, whether he had feelings for me. It was very clear, and he made it very evident. But the thing about it is, during that time, I wasn't used to that, you know? I wasn't used to a guy being so affectionate towards me and just, you know, totally expressing themselves. And I was like, this dude is swooning. Like, who does that? It's a little corny. I thought that was a little corny. But to be honest, A man being vulnerable is not corny. He was being vulnerable. That's not corny. He was freely expressing himself without fear of judgment. That is not corny. And I'm thankful that he did, because like I said, I didn't have to question whether or not where I stood with him. But I was so used to not knowing the intentions of a man when it came to me. I was so used to getting a little bit of this and getting a little bit of that just to string me along, or just to keep me interested or keep me there. But my husband, he did none of that. And so I'm thankful that he made his intentions known, and he made it clear. He's made his affections toward me very clear. So I knew where he stood, and I knew where I stood with him. So the last thing I would say that in hindsight, if I would have paid close attention to, that he did that pointed out that this guy was the one for me, was that he loved me the way Christ loves the church. Now, I have been a Christian for a long time. And as a Christian, I've always heard the standard of love being described as Christ loves the church. So I wanted to love like that. I'm like, I want my husband, I want my man to love me the way Christ loves the church. Truth be told, I didn't really know what that meant. I just knew that that was the standard by which love was compared, and that it was a good thing. But I finally knew what it meant when my husband came along, because he loved me and continues to love me the way Christ loves the church. And how does Christ love the church? He loves us as we are. We don't have to change for him to love us. I mean, at the end of the day, like, we are loved by him. We came to him as the sinners that we are, and he still loved us. And that's how my husband, like, I didn't have to change. He came into my life. He liked me as I was. You know, he didn't say, Daniela, I like you if, or I love you if, I'll date you if you change. I didn't have to lose any weight. I didn't have to change my hairstyle, the way I dress, or any of that stuff. He just accepted me as I am, and he loved me. I mean, everything about me, my quirks, my silliness, and I can be silly, my loudness, my rambunctiousness. Rambunctiousness. Is that a word? I don't know. My obnoxiousness. Hey, there you go. I mean, just all of it. And he loved not just the beautiful things about me, but he loved my flaws. He loved me despite my flaws. Let me correct. He didn't love my flaws, just like Christ doesn't love our sins. He loves us despite of it. And of course, as Christians, we want to do better. We want to stop sinning. We want to be righteous. And when somebody loves your flaws, you still want to, be a better person. But my flaws were my flaws, and they're still kind of my flaws. I am one of the laziest, most procrastinating person that I know. But despite that, he loves me. Let me give you an example. Speaking of procrastinating. All right, I'm about to tell y'all the business. I remember when we were married, our first year married, and I was responsible for paying the light bill. Yes, I'm about to tell y'all my business like that, okay? So I was responsible for paying the light bills, and one day I'm in the house, one evening per se, I'm in the house, click-clacking, I'm doing my work, I'm doing my thing, and boom, lights went off. I go outside to see what's going on, and come to find out, all the lights were on in the neighborhood, but mine. We were living in a condo at this time, so all the lights were on, but mine. And I was like, oh snap, I forgot to pay the light bill. He's gonna kill me. He's gonna kill me. Of course, I hurried. I paid the bill. But you guys know, once you pay that bill, it doesn't mean that your lights are gonna turn on just like that. No. I had to wait a few hours before P&L, turn my lights back on. And during that time, I'm hoping and praying like, Lord, have the lights turn on before he gets home. And sure enough, I hear the keys dangling at the door. I'm like, oh God. And he walked into a dark condo, tried to flip on the lights. I was like, why are you sitting in the dark? And bloop. Well, and he's like, you didn't pay the light bill? And I was like, well, what had happened was, but he didn't yell, he didn't scorn, he didn't ridicule me because of, my irresponsibility, because that was so irresponsible of me. He just, decided moving forward, I'm going to handle this bill. Let me take this off her hand because I'm not trying to be in this situation again in the future. And it's not an excuse for me to continue to be irresponsible. Of course, I grew and that's never happened again. I'm out here telling you guys that my lights were off. Anyway, so I grew and that never happened again. But the point is, despite my irresponsible 16-year-old ways, if you're a responsible 16-year-old, that's great. But despite that, he still loves me. And I still got 16-year-old irresponsible ways. Trust that. He's so used to it by now. It's like, okay, all right. This is who I got. And there's nothing like being able to be yourself. There's nothing like being able to know that you are loved as you are without changing or having to change to be accepted, flaws and all. And not just my character flaws, but my physical flaws, from the crown of my head to the sole of my feet, from every single hair change, from when I went natural to relax, from short to long, from the babies to the sicknesses, like all of it. And he loved me even before we got married. The genuine love that this man had for me while we were friends and while he was pursuing me was that of Christ loves the church. And had I paid attention to those things and had I not overlooked them, I would have seen that he was truly the one for me. And then it ended up being where God confirmed and showed me that he was the one. And which was in my previous video. I just wanted to share my story so you know what to look out for, because the man that God has for you is going to love you the way Christ loves the church. He's going to pursue you aggressively, and he's going to make his affection very clear to you. All right, so that's my story and how I knew in hindsight that my husband was the one, in addition to the Lord telling me. All right, guys, thanks for listening.